Hi everyone and welcome to Athletic Inc.'s fifth series of our coffee chats. Today we have my good buddy with me. He's a former national bowler. He's currently the national head coach of Singapore bowling, the women's team. Jason Yeong. Jason, thanks for coming on to the show.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks for inviting me.
How's everything been so far now with the circuit breaker period? How's everything been?
It's been okay. It's been different from training. The goals are all just training from home, doing drills. I think there's positive and negative.
Yeah.
The positive side is they miss bowling more. They appreciate bowling. We can't wait to get back to the lanes. We're doing drills, and it helps them mentally because it's very boring. And then they just got to go do it, repeating it every now and then.
Yeah.
So, but we can't wait to get back to the lanes and start training.
Okay, that's good. And are they working on any other, are they working on weaknesses that they might have, or is this a good time to be working on some of the, the stuff that you can't really work on during the season?
Yeah, for now, because the coaches were thinking of how can we reduce muscle mass loss and then short repetition and all, right?
Yeah.
So we can't have the normal bowling 5-step bowling thing at home. So what we did was to try to enhance their muscle on their legs,
Mm-hmm.
their core muscles, and do visualization to help them.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're trying to do as much as we can so that the fundamental of bowling is still strong. When they get back, they won't lose the finishing position, which is very important in bowling.
Yeah, cool. All right. So has there been any news whether you guys can go back onto the lane soon? Or I know there's some news coming out now that some people might be able to start training soon. What's the story with you guys?
We still do not know. We're still waiting for the government to give us the green light, but we are prepared, as in the procedures, the SOP are all set up. So once it's ready, we are ready to get back anytime.
That sounds good. And are there any competitions lined up this year, or what's the story for the competition wise?
As of now, we have Asian Bowling Championship, which was supposed to be in July. It has been postponed to November. So it's still in the calendar, but we're not sure whether it will go on or not. The other tournaments are mostly in November, October, Malaysia Open, Thailand Open. Yeah, so it's all in there, but plans to go depends on the situation. If it's not under control, we may not take the risk and go because we do not want to go, get infected, and then bring it back to Singapore.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Okay, thanks for that. All right, Jay, let's go back a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about you. I remember you as a very good football player when we were in school studying. How far did you go with your football? I remember you really playing. You were able to use both sides of your feet, actually, if I remember correctly. Tell us more about your football career when you first started.
Okay, so I started soccer because of our primary school, right? Because everyone in primary school played soccer. During recess time, you can see on the pitch, the football field, there'll be 40 kids running around. There's 5 footballs kicking here and there, right? So my first sport ever was football. So I started there. I played football all the way until secondary school. The reason why I started to play with my left leg was because in primary school, I wanted to be in the school soccer team. There were a lot of right leggers, right? So my mindset was, if I were to compete against them, the chance of me being in the team is very slim. And there were only like 1 or 2 left leggers. So if I train on my left leg, I may be able to get into the team, right? So that's why I started practicing with my left leg. So it was accident actually, but it turned out to be.
I mean, that's an amazing story actually, right? That you knew that you wanted to be on the team, and you knew that you were competing with so many other people out there, and you knew that your only chance was to pick up a new skill which you were uncomfortable with. And there's not many people who would have gone that route. A lot of people I was on the team with you, and I was using my right leg, and I probably didn't have as much game time as you did because you were able to play with both feet. That's an amazing story actually to share with all our viewers. You adapt, right? That's called adapting to your situation.
Yeah. So I really just told myself, I want to be on a team. That's my main goal. I will adapt. All I need to do is be able to pass with my left leg, trap with my left leg, cross with my left leg. Yeah.
That's
So it became a blessing in the end.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I still remember you being able to play really well with both feet. And how far did the football take you? I mean, you said you were in secondary school. Were you playing for any clubs, or were you playing the under 15s, under 16s?
So we played soccer. I played soccer all the way until secondary school, like Sec 1, Sec 2, and then I had to decide between bowling or football, right? So for the club-wise, I enjoyed playing soccer with my club friends from Singapore Recreation Club and my school friends, my secondary school friends. So
Yeah.
from there, we actually created our own team and we played in the National Football League, the under 18, under 16. So I played until Sec 2, Sec 3, and then I stopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then you transitioned. When did you pick up bowling? Because you said you started bowling. I mean, you had to choose between bowling and soccer in secondary school. So, when did you pick up bowling?
So I picked up bowling when I was in Sec 3.
Okay.
How I started bowling was because of Singapore Recreation Club. I used to play football there, right?
Yeah.
And then they demolished the old building and they built a new building, which had a 10-lane bowling center.
Yeah.
So I started there, and I had my own private coach, Mr. Yeong. I trained under him, and one day, maybe 1 or 2 years later, he came and then he told me that I had to decide between playing soccer or bowling, because soccer, when I played, I had injuries and it affected my bowling. I won't be able to train.
Yeah.
So I made a decision then. And the reason why I chose bowling was at that point of time, there were a lot of tournaments for us. We had, every month there was a tournament. There was Youth Challenge, Adam and Eve, Super Classic, Junior Classics. It was fun. And I decided that, you know what, it's competitive, it's fun. And I decided I'll choose bowling over soccer.
Nice. Okay. And so that's a win for bowling, I guess. We've been talking a lot about athletic development and stuff like that in the recent weeks on the past chats that I've had. Did playing football growing up make it easy for you to pick up a new sport like bowling, which is pretty much it's more of a repetitive sport, right? It's a mental sport. It's like a skill precision sport basically. But what skills were you able to use from playing football as a kid growing up and use that to pick up a new sport like bowling?
I would say maybe just ball sense, and like what I like in football was the team play, because it's also important to have a team, right? And everybody depend on the team. In bowling, it's slightly different. You don't need a teammate, but I still feel the team support is important, especially when you travel overseas, because when you're there, it's you against the other countries. But when I was in primary school, actually, I played a lot of different sports. I think our primary school, like, exposed us to many different sports. I played badminton, I played track and field, I played football. Then at home, I played softball and hockey, right? So I believe some of this sport that I played when I was younger helped me develop something, but I'm not sure what. Because when I picked up bowling, it was a little bit easier.
Yeah.
It was hand-eye coordination was easier, and yeah.
Okay. Do you think it could be a genetic thing? I think I know both your parents are national softball players as well. So you think
Yes,
you
they both.
inherited something from them?
I am not sure. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, but they exposed me to all kinds of sports. So, and I think that helped because like I've never played table tennis, and in 2006 when we went for Asian Games,
Yeah.
you guys played table tennis, right? So it was my first time playing, and I could actually just hit the ball back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As in like I've never played something, but the motor skills were there. You know, like the basic was just there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure other kids nowadays have that. I mean, like in school, what do they do?
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, being exposed to all different types of sports when you're young definitely helps you, as you slowly get older and you zoom in and focus more on one or two sports as you get older, right? And you want to be more competitive in those sports. I think, like you said, being exposed to all those different sports when you're young definitely gave you an advantage over those who maybe just only specialize in one or two sports.
Yes.
All right. You've won a lot of competitions in your bowling career, right? You're quite established. You've won many SEA Games medals, many Asian Games medals. You've been to World Championships. You represented Singapore for a long time, many years. How does that? Is there any special memorable moment you've had from that?
Uh, I think every tournament I went to, every win there was something special. You know, even like when we bought the doubles together, right, at Asian Championship. Our first game I bought 150, bought 160. Right, it was like 300, and then it was almost like impossible to actually even medal. And we didn't give up. We fought all the way, and we actually won the tournament, right? So it was something like from there to me, it's like it's nothing is impossible as long as you don't give up, right? But I think my most fond memories of my bowling career would be 2006 Asian Games, where the whole team was together, the men and women. We were enjoying ourselves on the lanes and off the lanes. You know, off the lanes, we were a team. We were eating together. We brought two dining tables into one room, and then we just enjoyed ourselves there. You know, so that whole experience was something different, and I really enjoyed it a lot more than like if you ask me if I would take that compared to any of my wins, I would. Yeah, because the whole team enjoyed themselves instead of just one person winning and being happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that quite clearly. Still quite memorable. Even though we fought hard and lost in the by so little in the team event, but
Yes.
that was really that's a good memory. Do you you're so big on being a team in a team environment and being as a trying to make it into a team sport. Is this something you're trying to build on in the current team that you have, or is this something that you've really put in place and it's something you see and you're hoping that it continues to build on, even maybe even after you leave, or in the next generation of players that are coming in?
I am hoping to build on, and then continue, let it continue. Because to me, a lot of people's perception of bowling is an individual sport. But actually, when you bowl championship and stuff, it's a team sport. But most of the time, you're bowling individually because you're just competing against your own teammates and the rest of the other countries. But you really need everybody's support, actually. So to me, it's how I don't think anything in life, okay, maybe not everything. Most of the stuff in life, you need a team to work with, even for coaching also. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, on your point about bowling being an individual sport, if you, I mean, from my recollection, when we play in major games, be it SEA games or Asian games or even in the World Championships, you're never alone unless you made it all the way to the finals. Because even in the singles event, you're playing with your doubles partner, and then you play doubles, and then you play trios, and then you play the team of five. So technically, you're always with one of your teammates, if not more than one of your teammates, in every stage of the competition. So yeah, if there's any advice out there, I will agree with you that try and it's always good to use the help of your teammate, to go through that whatever stage of the competition that you're in. It always helps to play with someone else rather than um, on your own, right? Because you can get feedback and stuff from your partner.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Jay. So, when did you transition from a player to coach? And you stayed on in the team for I think a few more years after we all retired. Um, when did you feel that it was the right time uh, to retire, and why did you become a coach, or was that the next transition that you've always wanted to be?
Okay, so actually, as a bowler, when I was bowling, right, I told myself that once I'm done with bowling, I'll never step to SBF ever again, and I will never, like, I'll just move on from the SBF. You know, I will
Yeah.
not go into sport, right? So when I was about done with my career, I think that was in 2012. Uh, I spoke to Mrs. Hua, our president, and I told her and said that this would be my last year. And then she asked me if I had ever considered wanting to be a coach. I said, no, I have not. She said that, why don't I just consider and see if I would like to, she'll give me my full support. So I went and speak to Mervyn and Uncle Henry at that point of time. I told them, say that, what do you think of coaching? So they said that, if you love the sport, it's something you can do. So I said that I have no skills in like technical games and stuff. I cannot identify an error and stuff. They said that skills can be learned. But what's most important is you need a coaching team. You may be weak in certain part of the game, but somebody is strong, right? You may be strong in something else. So as a team, when you work together, you can help to accomplish something at the end. So I decided, why not give it a try? So actually, in 2012, June, I think, I went to Uncle Billy and I asked him if I could try coaching, working with Stride Academy and him. So he said, okay. So I was doing bowling and coaching at the same time. So he guided me along. He helped me a lot in my coaching career.
Okay.
And at the end of it, in November, after my last tournament, I decided that it's time to stop and go into coaching. Yeah, that's how I actually went to coaching.
So you actually tried or kind of like expose yourself to the coaching scene first before you decided to permanently go into coaching.
Yes.
And was it easy for you to transition, being a player, being someone who's been there in all the major competitions and winning? Is that something, do you think that's an easy process to become a coach, or it's still a learning journey and it takes a while for you to get to it?
It's still a learning journey. So to me, the hardest thing about coaching is people, because everybody is so different. Their emotions, their way of doing stuff. So to me, I need to understand my players individually to try to help them, because even their learning style can be different. Not everybody's the same. So yeah, the hardest part is actually working with people. And the worst part is, as a bowler, I didn't really like planning for myself. So I didn't really do much planning, my goals, nothing. But then now as a coach, I need to plan for 12 people or 6 people. To me, it's like, wow. It's like, it's last time I could just focus on myself. I knew myself so well. I didn't take advantage of it. But now I need to focus on 10 people. It's so much harder. But
Yeah.
I enjoy it because it's something that I think it will help them a lot more. I see the importance because I didn't do it as a player. I see the importance of why it's so important.
Is it like a new skill that you've learned?
Yeah, and new skills, so planning and everything. Last time when I was young, when I was playing, people told us, say like it's important to do warm-ups and stuff, right? And then I'll be like, come on, I don't get injured. I'm so young, I'm so fit, so I just keep playing. Then now I get older, I get so much all the injury. And I'm actually telling the younger players, my players, to like do proper warm-up, do proper cool-down. And I don't see them doing it. So to me, it's like, it's a whole cycle.
You know,
It's
when we were
frustrating.
playing, we never learned from our coaches. Some of our coaches, I remember, they were injured from playing as well, and we never learned
Like,
from that. Now you see in your players, oh, that's weird. I mean, I work with the athletes as well in the gym, and the number of times I have said that, please warm up properly. Today is a really hard day, hard session. It's going to be really tough. And then they're like, after 2 minutes, they're like, oh yeah, I'm done. I'm ready. And then the next day they come back to you and say, oh, I don't feel so good. I was like, yeah, no shit, because I told you. Interesting how, it's almost like you transition from a player to a coach, but or you still working with athletes, but, the things are still the same, right? The way how you see the things, how you see the players move and how they change and all that stuff is kind of still the same. And like you said, I totally agree with you about managing people is harder than the actual, coaching part of it.
yeah.
So, coming back, we said about how you didn't know whether you wanted to be in the sports industry, right? Was there anything else you thought that you wanted to do? Um, since you knew that you wouldn't want to be in the sports industry anymore?
No, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did internship at Singapore Electronics, so it was a desk job. I did a bit of property because it was my diploma. I didn't enjoy it. So I didn't enjoy desk job because it's quite boring. It's just sitting facing a computer doing it, right? And I don't interact with people. Uh, Doing property, I didn't really like it because I wasn't good at negotiating. To me, it's like I always let you do it your way, and then I will always lose out, right? So it was not something I enjoyed. What I really love was sport. So, but I didn't think of it. Because to me, it's like, oh yeah, it's the end of my bowling career, and I didn't want to be, I didn't want to go back to sports. But I'm glad that I didn't, like, I chose to continue doing what I love.
Yeah. So looking back, no regrets at all.
No regrets.
That's good. So, last few questions from me. What are your difficulties? You know, now that you're a coach, what are the most difficult things, or what are your difficulties that you face as a coach now?
Uh, I think development of players and like how uh, as coach, I mean in between, as in like as a coach for the players, I would want them to develop properly. You know, it's a journey, so it takes time. But for the federation, results are important. So I need the results. So it's where how am I going to balance? As in, what's more important, the results at this point of time, a short-term goal, or the longer-term goal for the athlete? So yeah, so that's a bit tough for me. As in, like it's it's here and there.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. And then you have to deal with players' expectation, sometimes parents' expectation, and then obviously your management expectations. I think that can be quite challenging, but I guess that's all part and parcel of the role that you have, right? As a head coach, that you have to figure out how to manage all this, and at the same time, obviously get the best out of your athletes. Um, thanks for sharing that with us, Jason. I know you've been in the team for a while now. What's your most memorable and proudest moment as a coach?
Okay. So every win that they won, I've been very proud of them, and it's an enjoyable moment, and I'm very happy for them. But if I had to choose one of my proudest moment, it would be last year's 2019 World Championship, right? The team didn't win. The team event, right? The team didn't win. So in 2015, the team came in third. 2017, they came in second. 2019, they didn't even medal at all. But I was proud of them because I saw a team coming together. I always like to say that in good times, you don't really see a team. They're all happy, they're all celebrating, but you do not know whether they're a true team. In bad times, you actually see if the team sticks together or they blame one another. So when they didn't win in 2019, I saw the whole team supporting each other. Though disappointed, nobody was blaming one another. They're all looking at themselves and saying that if I had done this, if I had done that, it would be different. So to me, it's like it's good. I saw a strong team, and true enough, at the end of the year, 2019, they had SEA Games. They won the team medal. But this SEA Games was slightly different because it was a four-man team. World Championship was a six-man team, right? So even Bernice that didn't make it for the SEA Games team, she felt happy, and it was like as if she was part of the team at the venue. So I was very happy that I saw a team growing and becoming a team.
That's nice. That's good. I mean, I always remember our our old coach used to tell us that no matter what happens, you should always be happy that you've won, because in some way or another, you've played a small role, or you've played a role in that team winning, whether you participated in that event or not. But you somehow played a role in the team, because you're training with the team all day, every day as well, right? So you definitely changed something as well, and you should feel happy for whoever that's won. That's I think that's very good. Um, that's something to take back for the viewers that are listening and watching this. You know, you should never feel like you're never part of the team, especially when you're in as a part of the team. You should never feel like you've never won or never achieved anything. But at the same time, when you see people, or when you see your teammates win, that should, and you're not part of the team, that should spur you on to actually work harder as well, to make sure that one day you get there and you be a part of that team as well. Thank you, Jason. Thanks for sharing that. Very important. Another question for you is, you know, do you have any advice now for any aspiring players out there who would like to be one day a part of the national setup? They might have dreams of being in the national team and playing for Singapore one day. Any advice you have for them right now?
I would say my advice for them is to actually work hard. Uh, you need to work hard in sports. There's no shortcut in being a champion. Every great athlete that has actually like spent almost like minimum 5 to 10 years getting to where they are, like Michael Jordan, Cristiano Ronaldo, Roger Federer. So when you look back, you see their success. It was their hard work that brought them to where they are. Never come up with excuses. Always find reasons to be better, and work on your weak points to become stronger. At the start, I think it's easy to see improvement, but as you get better, you may work on something for a few days or a few months and you see a slight improvement, but that's very important. There are times that you'll feel down and you want to quit, but you need to hang in there, because I think it's, as long if you have a goal in mind, you got to stick with it, and it will pay off at the end of the day. You just need to be working hard on it. Yeah.
All right, thanks. That's good advice because even for myself, I'm sure you've seen this a lot as well. I've seen so many kids, so many good kids who are good in their sport, good in the game that they play. They give up, like you said, because they've not seen success for a while, or they've not seen any improvements for a while, and then they slowly lose focus of what they want to do, lose their love for the sport, and then in the end, just retiring. I think at too early, too young an age as well. All right,
Yeah, and I think it's not just in their sport. I mean, like, they need to work on their strength and conditioning, their mental game. It's just not your sports skill, because everything else plays a part, and it's a whole system. So a lot of people feels like for bowling, it's just important to learn the skills, but actually strength and conditioning is important. Your mental game is important, but we seldom work on those parts. So I think it's important to actually find the right people to help you.
Okay, that's good advice. Um, is that something that the current team is working on? So just as an example, for those viewers that are watching out there, is that something that the current team is working on? I do see some of the players on their social media, they go into the gym and stuff like that. Is that something that you guys push hard? Because I know when we were in the team, it was there. It was an offering, but we never really made use of it, or not everyone was really focused about it.
Uh, so for the scholars, yes, it's compulsory for them. They need to go to the gym, they need to have a psychologist, they need to do their rehab properly and all, right? For the rest of the team in general, there isn't. There isn't, as a federation, we try our best to give them like basic uh, strength conditioning stuff like cardio, running, but it's really on them to actually do it. So we do not know whether they're actually doing it. So, but I believe like Joey and Basil, they work with you, right?
Yeah.
And they actually go to you. And I think it helps them because they have been very successful. Basil has stopped because of army, right? Joey is doing her studies and all. So, but when they were competing at their best and they were training with you, they were successful. They have won so much. So it's proven that it's important, but sometimes it just needs extra effort, extra time where people just feel like I can do other stuff. I can go party. I can go meet my friends, right? So they neglect this small little stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, but and sometimes, I mean, like you said, everyone's been watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, and you watch the amount of detail and amount of training that he does, right? There's even after training, he still stays back in training. He's not practicing on the skill, but he could be there, maybe for example, throwing 100 free throws, but it's more of a mental thing. He's actually training his psychological aspect of his game rather than his the physical aspect of his game. So yeah, that makes plenty of sense. Thanks a lot, Jason. Now, last question. You transition from a player to a coach, right? You shared your experience a little bit about that. What is your advice for any of the players? It might not be just bowling, could be any other sport. What is your advice for them who are looking to transition? It doesn't necessarily be a coach, but it can be anything within the sports industry. What is your advice for them?
I would say, first of all, if you love your sport, just go and do it. Go and contribute back to your sport. I think it's most important to do something you love as a job, right? Because I think at minimum 1/3 of a day to half a day you'll be spending on your work. So if you don't do something you love, it's hard. As athletes, we can contribute back because we've been in their shoes. We know what we have gone through, what worked for us, what didn't work for us, and we can actually help the athlete go faster. You know what I mean? So I personally feel it's important that we have athletes going back to sports and trying to give back. You know, a lot of people say that, okay, maybe you won't earn as much in sports, right? But I don't think it's true. I think in any job you do, you can earn money if you're hardworking, right? And it's depend on how much you want to earn. It's never enough. For example, if I'm a banker, I earn $1 million a year, I'll try to have 3 million a year. You know what I mean? It's never, the amount will never stop. But what's most important is, are you enjoying what you're doing? And yeah, the minimum you need to cover is at least your basic. You need to, unless you say that sports won't even help you pay your bills and all, then I say, okay, you probably need to find something else. But there are so many sports coaches in Singapore, and
Yeah.
I've seen from the past to now. So it's a job that it's available, and there's just a mindset of people, I guess.
Yeah, totally agree. I've seen, I mean, we're working in the sports industry right now, and I'm a sort of like a private entity, right? But I work with a lot of the other coaches, and they're all ex-athletes, and they're all doing well for themselves, and most importantly, like what you said, they're all happy doing what they're doing. So it's, I mean, if I look at some of them, they were all working in office jobs after they retired, but then came back to the sport only because they realized that they can't stay away from their sport for so long. Right. So thanks again, Jason. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for coming on the show. And I hope to see you again soon. I know I've heard that, there's a chance that things might ease up by the end of June. So I'm really hoping to see you again soon. Take care, Jason. Thanks again.
Thanks, Carl.